Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today we've got a bit of a different video, but one that I'm excited to get into and talk about with you all nonetheless, and that is discussing some of Ubisoft's recent announcements and decisions about many of their upcoming games. It's been a big point of discussion and controversy lately, so maybe you've heard of some of it. I want to then wrap that back around to The Division because I have some interesting thoughts there, as well as include a bit of speculation about how The Division 2 could potentially be about to receive even more resources and developers. Should be a lot of fun. I always enjoy doing these, type of commentary videos and hearing all of your thoughts on the matter, so let's get into it. So, in case you missed the news or just want to recap, Ubisoft made some pretty big decisions in the past week. I will leave a link to a Kotaku article that summarizes a lot of this quite well in the description, but the highlights are that many of their upcoming games got either delayed or straight up canceled. The one many of you will at least be somewhat familiar with and care about is Massive's Avatar game. It has been bumped from fiscal 2022 to fiscal 2023, meaning it can now release anytime between April 2023 and March of 2024. Honestly, the reason I'm surprised by this the most is because of how meticulous James Cameron is undoubtedly being with this whole partnership and endeavor in the first place. He's got immense control and decision power in everything related to the Avatar game, as he's the one who owns and controls the IP as a whole, and I have to imagine that he's not happy at all that this game will now not be releasing alongside this new movie in December, as it seemed like that was always the intention for, several years now. So that game is delayed. Additionally, a quote, smaller unannounced premium game was also delayed out of fiscal 2022, and according to a few sources, this was apparently a new Assassin's Creed Valhalla spin-off, so alone, those are pretty big. But then it was also revealed that Ghost Recon Frontline was straight up cancelled, the first-person battle royale that got dislike bombed into oblivion, and the vast majority of Ghost Recon fans said they didn't want in a million years. It is no more, and that is pretty crazy to me. It's not surprising, really. I mean, the public reactions were intensely negative, but the fact that they're not even trying to recoup some of their money by just releasing it, they're just getting rid of it entirely. I mean, wow. Beyond that, a Splinter Cell VR game that had been in development was also canceled, as well as, get this, 2 games that hadn't even been announced yet were canceled. 2 games that the public had never seen nor reacted to were canned. I find that just incredibly, I don't even know, telling, we'll say. So obviously, that's a lot of news to sift through. A lot of people have a lot of different opinions. Many people in the Division community have shared their thoughts about Avatar and Frontline, but something else that Kotaku mentions in their article, and this is kind of where I want to loop the Division into all of this, is that they're seeing more and more of Ubisoft's total portfolio, and across all of their projects and games, there's been a continual increase in budget freezes, slower hires, less raises being given out. Overall, there's just a bit of stagnation and slowing in growth in overall company development, and whether that's due to the oncoming of a recession, as Kotaku cites, or poor management, whatever, it doesn't really matter, but we're seeing Ubisoft continually stumble, right? Ubisoft Quartz, their grand NFT plan completely backfired, got flamed online, and has been now back in the shadows for months. Their big free-to-play wave hasn't really taken off. Hyperscape got canned, Frontline is canceled. There's a few scraping through, like X-Define is finally coming into its own a bit more, and, Roller Champions is released, but with rumors that Skull and Bones is kind of shallow and that Beyond Good and Evil 2 isn't doing phenomenally behind the scenes, all of these delays, regardless of the cause, the effect is that Ubisoft is struggling right now. And so given the state of things, I thought I would take the opportunity to try and get through to the decision makers at UB Corporate. This one's for you. I'm going to try and spell this out, this thing that many of us have been saying for over 6 years now: invest into the Division. You're having consistency issues. People aren't vibing with a lot of the new things you're trying out. You're losing money. The industry is headed into a bit of a recession and you need some financial stability. Guess what has never failed, at least from a consumer interest standpoint? Tom Clancy's The Mother Effin' Division. Now sure, there have been lows in the Division's history, but the majority, if not all of those, have come from self-inflicted problems. The word was spread that Division 2 was a financial failure. Does 10 million copies sold sound like a financial failure to you? Because that's better than a hell of a lot of other games and studios can ever hope to make in this industry. Division 2 failed, quote unquote, because Ubisoft's sales expectations were astronomically unrealistic and high. Primarily because Division 1 held the record for the highest selling new IP of all time, and that was finally only unseated by Elden Ring 6 months ago. The only times the Division has ever disappointed people is when Ubisoft hasn't given it the support it deserves. People weren't very impressed by Year 2 content for the Division 2 after Warlord's launch. That's because behind the scenes, the team is already being disbanded to go work on Star Wars. Imagine what the game would look like right now if they had gone with the Destiny model from the start and planned out at least 3 to 4 consecutive years of expansion releases. But beyond that, everything that's come out or has been unveiled for the Division universe lately has gotten great reception. Recruited was awesome back in February. Division 2's first update after a 15-month content gap was so successful that they greenlit an additional 12 months of content after the 9 months more we already had coming. The Division Mobile, everyone said it was a waste of resources and they didn't care about it after it was announced last year, yet now that we've seen what type of game it is and what's in store, the vast majority of players are very hyped for the Division resurgence. Not to mention the fact that the Division Heartland will be here by March at the latest, and that's going to do its own wonders for the franchise, I guarantee. So my overall point is, the Division franchise and IP as a whole is incredibly reliable. Any shortcomings it's ever had have been self-inflicted. The game has a formula that works, that is popular, and the more you invest into it, the more return you're going to get. So Ubisoft, maybe instead of trying all of these new risky things like NFTs, free-to-play games that nobody is asking for, just double down on what we've all been telling you will be successful, because you know, as much as I'm appreciative and excited for all of the support and content we're getting across the Division universe right now, it could certainly be more. And just look what happens when you dedicate everything you've got to a property everybody loves, like Bungie with Destiny. So yeah, I don't know. Seeing all of these reports and opinions lately about Ubisoft's recent struggles really just made me think about how all of us have been saying for so long how successful and big the Division could be if Ubisoft were to increasingly invest into it. Easily one of, if not their biggest IP. I mean, Assassin's Creed has kind of been their flagship for a long time. That's getting its future unveiled in September. They've said, just imagine a future where Ubisoft focuses on Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, and Siege is so huge, and The Division. You want to talk about financial stability through a recession, that would be one way to do it, in my mind. And there is a chance that increasing support is on the way, and this is kind of the last thing I wanted to touch on for this video, and that's that the recent rumblings and curiosity about Ubisoft Bucharest, who, if you didn't know, is the other major contributor to new Division 2 content at this time, alongside Massive Entertainment. They're a huge support studio, with developers working on many of Ubisoft's various games, but a large number of their workforce was recently dedicated to leading a project, that being Ghost Recon Frontline, which, as we talked about earlier in this video, is now canceled. It is no more. So I've seen a lot of people asking, does this mean that Division 2's team and the new team at Bucharest will be getting any additional resources and developers from that now disbanded Frontline team? The truth is, I don't know, but I certainly hope so. Even if it's just an additional 10, 20, 50 people, that's something. And you know, with Resurgence coming out with all of these features, Heartland is going to be doing its own thing. That's great. The diversity in games and content is going to be good and beneficial for the franchise, no doubt. But I think the one thing that we're really still lacking is that rock solid core being focused on supporting the mainline game. Look, the stuff we're getting for year 4 and 5 looks awesome, don't get me wrong, but the devs working on it are working their asses off. They're running a hard show, and in my opinion, that shouldn't be the case for a game and franchise, which again, held the record for the highest selling new IP of all time for 6 years. So, to close this out, this is all just my opinion. Of course, don't take it too seriously, but in my view, if Ubisoft is looking for stability and easy success amongst a rough patch of game development industry-wide and worldwide, just double down on the franchise that is literally never disappointed as far as fan interest and reception. Get Division 2 up to par with its peers and competitors, or hell, make the next-gen Division 3 that we all know you're plotting. Get on that yearly expansion model, support it like it should be supported, and keep up the work on these spin-offs and side projects that continue to strengthen the brand. I know it can seem scary, it's a big leap, and it's not my money, but trust me, it would pay off big time. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on to be updated every time I upload. Let me know your thoughts about this whole conversation. Do you agree with me that the Division could be an immense source of stability and success in a time when Ubisoft seems to be struggling to achieve that? What do you think about some of their recent delays and cancellations? And specifically, do you have any thoughts or predictions about the Bucharest Frontline team disbanding? Do you think any of that will go into Div 2? Maybe not. Whatever your thoughts are on that or any other topic, let me know. As always, I'll be very curious to hear your thoughts. And I believe that just about does it for me today, everyone. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until the next one, guys, RogueGold. Ow.